Sports. He's known simply as the King. He's done more for his sport than any other, and he always remembers his friends.
Without the fans, you not here, I'm not here, none of this stuff is happening. So when you see the fans, you tell them thank you too, because otherwise you'd be having to work for a living. So, you know.
In 1 week, this place, Charlotte Motor Speedway, will be in the NASCAR spotlight, and King Richard Petty, will be making his final appearance here.
Every time we ever run here, we ran good. We never was able to win a race here. I think Jim Pascal won a race for us, Marvin Pants won a race for us here, Buddy Baker had won a race for us for Petty Enterprise, but Richard Petty never won one. So 75 was when I came back and won the race. So that's my best memory, basically, of the Charlotte race.
He raced in the first race ever in Charlotte, 1960. It took him 15 years to win his first race here, but he did manage to win 4 times in Charlotte and place second 9 times. As he leaves Charlotte, just a couple of words for the fans.
Thank you.
Ken Slats reporting for WPDE Action Sports. Tonight, it's John Smoltz, who struggled in the latter part of this year, but is 2-0 against Pittsburgh in the postseason.
The feeling of going out and pitching and having that good feeling has been the same. The only hurdle I had to jump over was a little groin injury, and I made that jump with limited problems, and now I'm excited to get back.
For the Pirates, it's Doug Drabick, 1.15 earned run average in 4 playoff decisions.
I try to take it as just an extension of the season, another game during the season. Obviously, it's not.
The Bucks' main concern, hitting. Braves pitching held Barry Bonds to 0 RBIs in last year's NLCS. However, Bonds enters this NLCS on a tear, hitting .402 with 25 RBIs in September.
I don't worry about if the team's hitting or not. I don't worry about if they hit or not last year in the playoffs. I have to send all my concentration to what I need to do to try to stop the Atlanta Braves from hitting.
It's going to be interesting to see, and I think the final decision will be made like it was last season, be made by pitching.
Ken Slats reporting for WPDE Action Sports. Rusty Wallace started the season poorly after a crash at Daytona, but in late August, a change was made.
The biggest change definitely has been hiring Parrott, Buddy, to bring on to lead the team, but the team itself, all the employees on the team are really super pumped up. They're excited. They feel like they're strutting their stuff a little more.
In the past month, Rusty has won in Richmond, finished second in Martinsville, and finished 4th this past weekend in North Wilkesboro. He's confident heading to Charlotte.
Had all my success on the short tracks here the last 3 or 4 races has turned out good. That's really where I cut my teeth at. But then again, Charlotte is the track where I did take the Winston Cup point lead away from Earnhardt in '89. I have won the 600, the 500, and the Winston here, so I feel like my chances of winning this race are excellent.
And with an attitude and work ethic like Rusty Wallace, his chances are excellent.
When I won the championship in '89, my biggest fear was going down because I knew that I worked my whole life to get to the top, and I got to the top. And the easiest thing that could happen is that you can go down, and I did go down. And now I got to tell you, I'm scratching and clawing and working hard to get back to the top, and it's paying off right now.
Ken Slats reporting for WPDE Action Sports. The Bruins and Tigers meet for the second time this season. In the first game, Chris Campbell scored 3 touchdowns as South Florence won 24-6. But it's now 6 weeks later and a region game.
It's a sort of city rivalry. It's not as keen as it has been in the past, but it's a city rivalry, and the guys are going to be up for it.
The attitude of practice at South Florence High School is one of ease and confidence. After all, the team just got done defeating Conway this past Friday, but they're not overlooking Wilson.
And in playing a team that you've already played one time and coming off a big game, we might have a tendency to let down, but we've worked hard this week to try not to let that happen. But just like our players were talking a while ago, each individual's got to do that themselves. You've got to be self-motivated, and if we can do that, we'll be fine.
During the week, we have a lot of talk about people underestimating Wilson's potential. I think that if we play like we're capable of playing, we can give Wilson a good game, and hopefully we'll come out on top.
And the Bruins have come out on top 4 of their 6 games this year, Wilson still looking for that first region win. In Florence, Ken Slats, WPDE Action Sports. The King, Richard Petty, finished 28th at the Mellow Yellow 500. He's enjoying his last NASCAR season. Petty was definitely in the spotlight his final race here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, but when it came race time, his son Kyle was the man in the spotlight. Kyle finished the race third, moving himself into 6th place in the Winston Cup points race. Bill Elliott is still first with Davey Allison 39 points behind. The biggest mover, Alan Kowicki, who is just 8 points behind Davey.
I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. We've got a legitimate shot at this championship, and our team's doing good. We've got some momentum, so everything's looking up. We're just going to try to be calm and go do the best job we can.
With the win yesterday by Mark Martin, he moves up to 4th place, but the points race isn't a major concern.
I'm not worried about the points because we raced to win last week, and we're going to race to win next week. And if we win the championship, well, great. But if we don't, well, at least we're on a roll. We've got great stuff.
Harry Gant is 5th in points, just 98 behind Elliott. With 5 drivers within 100 points, this 1992 season will be pure excitement to the last race, November 15th. In Charlotte, Ken Slats, WPDE Action Sports. We are almost to the midway point of the Gamecocks season. The big numbers, 0 wins and 5 losses. USC was idle last week and gearing up for Mississippi State this week. The week off couldn't have come at a better time. After all, true freshman Steve Tannehill and redshirt freshman Blake Williamson are both quarterbacks, both young and both inexperienced, and both vying for the starting position.
I've got really good, healthy competition right now going on between Blake and Steve. Both of them had a chance to get placed in a lot of scrimmage type work this week. The guy who continues to try to give us the best opportunity to move the football at the same time, not turn the ball over, is the guy.
You know, they're so close together in comparison. No one is really just way better than the other one. So if one come in, you can't really see the difference in the two quarterbacks.
So it's known they're just about even. But how about a hint as to who's going to start?
We'd like to go through early parts of practice and kind of hold naming a starter toward the end of the week, just because both of them certainly got to be ready to play, and both of them should be prepared to play, but just kind of see who's the sharpest toward the end of the week.
In Columbia, Ken Slats, WPDE Action Sports.
Coach, we're not happy with things. We'd like for you to resign. And I said, who's we? That was never clear. And they said, Coach, we just want to talk about it. We just want to have a meeting as players. So I left.
That's what transpired last night. And in that meeting, the players somehow came out with an apparent overwhelming vote of non-support for their coach. The reported vote of 62-24 for Sparky Woods to resign was totally false. Also last night, the meeting was very unorganized and brought about by just a handful of players.
Basically, it was total chaos in there. And, I mean, if you could put any one word on it, it was basically a mutiny.
It was really frustration. You know, it wasn't a majority, a minority. Our team is majority, so a lot of wasn't, made the young.
For 10 allegations are that the overthrow failed.
Last night, he said, look, we got to meet at 10. You guys don't want to come back, just to practice, we'll take your stuff up, but you don't want to play for us. And everybody came up. I guess whatever complaints everybody had got right.
I'm happy. The team is happy that they were here. Hopeful that we'll move on for practice this afternoon and just make progress toward our preparation for Mississippi State.
In Columbia, Ken Slats, WPDE Action Sports.
I particularly like that guy holding that sign. We love Sparky. If I can find him, I want to see if I can help him in the next week's game in Albany.
Saturday night, the excitement of Gamecock football was back here. The team regrouped after a week of controversy and focused on Mississippi State. The break came early in the ballgame and was brought about by a true freshman. Steve Tannehill completed his first 4 passes of the game, and on the first USC drive, Tannehill found Asim Penny in the end zone for a touchdown. Those chain of events brought confidence back to everyone.
Steve's certainly enthusiastic, and his enthusiasm spread throughout our football team, and And I think he loves to play. And I think I told everyone when we recruited Steve that he's a guy that just has a lot of fun playing football, and I think that's contagious, and I think it was Saturday.
I think Steve's got a lot of confidence himself, so when he comes into the huddle, he shows a lot of poise, and he gets us going. I think we really rallied behind him on Saturday, and he really didn't play like a freshman, I don't think.
I played a game with a lot of emotion. You know, I get involved, and I hardly ever sit down on a bench. I just don't like to sit. I don't have very much patience. I just try to get involved any way I can, help the team. You know, if I have to encourage the fans to cheer louder, to get more involved in the game, I'll do it.
In Columbia, Ken Slats, WPDE Action Sports. Emotions ran high during and following Saturday's win over Mississippi State. It was a situation where the team finally got down to business.
It's not as much of what happens in the locker room as it is of what happens on the field. And I think that's where it all is determined.
The fact, USC gained a much-needed win Saturday. The question, how can they do it again?
We got to find a way to win any way possible. Come together as a team, and before the game we had stress, you know, be vocal, be emotional, have fun, play the game like you know how to play it. Whatever it takes to win out there, I think our team has to be able to do that from now to the end of the season, and I think we will.
Once you experience the win, I mean, going 0-5, everybody was just down and frustrated, and once we experienced the win, I think, you know, once you taste it, it'll give you a reason to want it again, especially as sweet of a win as that was.
It was sweet, but now it's over, and the team must move forward and focus on keeping emotions high. In Columbia, Ken Slats, WPDE Action Sports.